This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.
If I had $1 for every time I let a man waste my time, I would be rich by now. And I know I am not the only woman who can say that. So let's talk about the burned haystack method and how it can help you date better and more efficiently, especially online. Welcome to Confidently Cherished. My name is Keshia Rice. I'm a dating coach and hypnotherapist. I help women find healthy, cherished relationships by healing from their unhealthy relationship patterns and expecting better. And the burned haystack method really encapsulates that, which is why I want to talk about it. And I know I've been talking a lot about online dating lately. I promise we will get into meeting people in real life and we'll talk more about relationships in general because all relationships are related. If you show me a woman who has issues with finding the right partner, she also has issues with family members, with some of her friends, in her career, at her job, because it's all related. So we will get into more of that. But I'm kind of on a roll with this online dating thing, so consider this to be a follow-up from last week's episode. So the burn haystack method is not something of mine, although I wish I could claim it. It was a method developed by Dr. Jenny Young. She is a writer, she's a researcher, kind of a Renaissance woman. She does a bunch of different things. And even though I didn't come up with this phrase, a lot of what is in the burn haystack method aligns with a lot of what I teach my clients. So I thought it would be great to go over some of the points and talk about how you can especially apply this to dating online, because that's where this method originally came from. But just in general, with expecting better in relationships, I've talked about this plenty before, that the only way to be treated well in a relationship is to command that respect. People love you at the level you're willing to love yourself, and people love you in the way that you teach them to love you and to treat you. So this idea of the burn haystack method comes from this idea that finding a great partner is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's difficult. You hear this all the time. The dating pool has pee in it. So when we talk about a burnt haystack, the idea is that if you set fire to a haystack, of course, it's going to destroy all the hay, but the fire is not going to destroy the needle because the needle is metal. So you basically burn all the fluff and you're left with what you're looking for. I want to say, to start with, that if you are doing this, you have to accept the fact that the dating pool of men that you're going to encounter are not going to consider you to be quote unquote nice. This is one of those cases where nice girls do in fact finish last. You have to understand that if you are serious, committed, and intentional about finding the right partner, you have to do all that you can to eliminate the trash, to eliminate men who will waste your time, to eliminate men who just aren't good, aren't healthy in general, to eliminate men who are weak. And that means you have to allow yourself to be just a little bit ruthless. You have to allow yourself to really stand on business and stand firm on your boundaries, on your standards, on your deal breakers. And if you can't do that because you always want to be seen as the nice girl, because you are a people pleaser, because you never want to make anyone mad or hurt anyone's feelings, it's going to be a tough road ahead for you. With that said, let's get into the steps of the burn haystack method. So, number one, you have to treat dating apps, dating websites, like they are a tool. And really, any method of dating is a tool. So, when we talk about dating apps, dating websites, seeing a matchmaker, using network events to meet people, using your hobbies as a way to meet people, joining civic organizations, volunteer groups, these are all tools that you should be intentional about, but that you shouldn't make the end-all be-all of your dating and relationship life. As it applies specifically to apps, remembering that a dating app is a tool means limiting your time on the app. You do not need to be on it all day, every day. I tell this to my clients all the time. Put time on your calendar, on your schedule, 15 minutes twice a day. That's really all the time that you need to be on any individual app. And silence your notifications. Don't allow those to go to your phone because you have a life. And there's no reason for you to constantly be on the app all day. There's no reason for you to answer messages the second that you get them. Those men will wait. They will not take away all your dating possibilities because you decided to go 6-7 hours between answering messages. In fact, I say this all the time, you don't want to play hard to get, you want to be hard to get. And the exact opposite of doing that is immediately answering messages the second that you get them. Again, live your life. Set aside the time on your calendar for that. Set aside the time for messaging back, checking out new matches, all of that. The second step is to respond only to worthwhile messages. And we see this all the time because there are men out there who use dating apps just in hopes of finding a quick hookup, or they don't take the apps very seriously. They're just kind of there to see what their options are. And these men will send you messages that make it clear that they never read a single thing in your profile. They just looked at the pictures. Or they will open with something that's not interesting, with like a hey, like just the hey, or what are you doing? And it's clear that they're not trying to get to know you. They're not trying to impress you. They're just using the app to hook up. So only respond to messages that are worth your time to respond to. When a man shows that he's actually looked at your profile, when he takes answering questions seriously, if he has a good opening line, those things. Respond to men who put in effort. The fact is, when you first meet someone, whether it's online or in person, people are their best selves when you first meet them, especially the first 3 months or so of you meeting them. When you meet a person for the first time, you are not meeting the person. You are meeting their representative. So if they are giving you a trashy experience on the first meeting, it's not going to get better. It only goes downhill from here. So be picky and choosy about what you respond to from the outset. The third step is block to burn. And I really love this because dating apps, just like social media apps, so just like X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that, they all work on algorithms. And part of that is dating apps work to keep you on the app for as long as possible. So you can swipe left on a guy, you can reject the match, all of that. And it gets to a point where maybe you've rejected a few men, and at the moment there aren't as many possibilities for you because, dating apps are very cyclical. They have their down times where not as many people are joining. And then they have their up times where you're getting a lot of fresh new people on the app. And during those down times, if you don't block someone, if you just rejected their message, their attempt to match with you, the app will show you that person again later on, thinking, honestly, maybe at this point she's a little bit more desperate and she'll consider this person now. Or just to make sure the app hits a certain number of matches for you in a day. If you filled out all the things, all your compatibility and everything, and the app promises you, say, 7 matches a day, and again, it's in a down cycle, so there's 6 good matches for you, the app will go ahead and recycle someone you've already seen before. If you block men who are not good matches for you, then the app can't do that because you have this person blocked, which means that you will only see better quality matches for you. And also, it factors into the app's algorithm if it sees you're blocking certain types of men. Speaking of blocking, the next step is to not fight back and instead to block. You will meet men on dating apps who are either A, just misogynistic pigs, or B, they really believe that thing back in childhood, where you were kids and a little boy messes with a little girl and the girl gets annoyed, and dumb adults will tell that girl, oh no, he just likes you, and that's why he's being so annoying right now. Some little men or some little boys grow up to be 30, 40, 50-year-old men who still act this way. And they will do things like try to rile you up to get into a discussion with you, or try to neg you so that they, quote unquote, humble you a little bit, and hope that that will affect your self-esteem to the point where you will give them a chance. Don't allow that to happen. If a man tries to say something controversial for the sake of getting into an argument with you on an app, go ahead and block him. Don't respond, don't fight back, don't argue, just block. The next step is remembering that you are not a pen pal and you are not a therapist. If you've ever heard me talk about online dating in the past, you've heard me say this phrase: I am not a fan of online dating. I am a fan of online meeting. The purpose of online dating is to expand your pool, point blank period. It is to increase the number of men you can potentially match with, along with the men that you are meeting in real life. And because of that, you do not need to spend forever on dating apps. Not just the, set aside time in your day and make that the only time that you spend on apps, but also once you do match with someone, if you like this man, take it off the app as quickly as possible. Because you want to keep your discernment high. You want to be efficient in your filtering process. That means that if you like someone, get it off the app, because if you're communicating just over apps, you don't get a person's body language, tone, things like that. So get it off the app, have 1 or 2 phone calls, and then he should initiate a date. And then after that, you meet in person and you can get a much clearer idea of whether or not this person has potential to be in a good relationship with you. The step after this, and at this point I've lost numberings, so forgive me for that. Keep location top of mind, Because there are people who do things, and this is men and women. There are people who, when they travel out of town, for example, they change their location on the dating app in hopes of seeing what the pool is like in these other places that they're going to. There can be some pros to this. I'm not denying that. But in general, you want to make dating as easy and convenient as possible. Back to the idea of online meeting, not online dating. You want to make it easier for you to see this person on a regular basis, and that is harder to do if you're in a long distance relationship. So unless you change your location when you're in a place that you travel to often, like maybe this is a place that you go to on a regular basis for work, or you go to this place on a regular basis to see family, or if it's a longer distance, you can just afford to easily go back and forth between where you live and where the city is. You really shouldn't be dating people in locations that are further away from you if you're intentional about being in a serious relationship. Now, if you're in a phase where you're just having fun, hooking up, you don't really care, that's a completely different story. But if you're being intentional about being in a serious relationship, it's not a good idea. And by that same token, if you match with a man on an app and he tells you that, yeah, he's in town for this week or for a few days or whatever, but where he normally lives is very far away, you should just go ahead and end that before you get anything started. The next step in the burn haystack method is, Dr. Young calls it a ludic loop. I like to call this loops of nothingness. So back to being intentional about dating, back to online meeting, do not allow yourself to continue engaging in dating conversations where you match with someone and you're just having generic, boring conversations. What was your day? What did you do? Oh, here's a meme I saw on Facebook. Haha, this is funny. If you match with someone and this person is not being intentional about getting to know you, and also being intentional about taking it off the app so that the two of you can meet in person, again, you're not a pen pal. Don't allow yourself to be someone's entertainment because they're bored and they're just on the app wasting time. And finally, don't date men, don't continue conversations with men online who can't plan a first date. Again, online meeting, not online dating. If this man is truly interested in you and truly intentional about being in a relationship, you won't have to worry about taking it off the app because he will push to do that. But also, allow him to make the plans for the first date. Don't accept a man who says that he wants to go out, but then expects you to plan the activity, to pick the restaurant, all of that stuff. If he is serious about being with you, let him take the lead on the first date. Now, before you start saying something like, well, what if he picks restaurants that I don't like or I have allergies and all that? Very easy. When you're in this online meeting and you go from matching on the app to texting or having a phone call, you can easily suggest 4 or 5 restaurants and say, hey, I like these. Choose one of them. You can talk about the type of things that you like. I'm an outdoors girl. I like to go hiking or to work out or do something physical. I like luxury. I like luxury experiences. So I like nice restaurants, operas, museums, things like that. You can say your personality, what types of things that you like, and then let him pick based off that. Because again, it shows how intentional he is about getting to know you. If you say you hate the outdoors and the first thing that he plans is a date hiking, this man is not serious about you. He's serious about hooking up. He's serious about getting what he wants. He's not serious about you. So keep that in mind, and don't let someone string you along or treat you badly or treat you disrespectfully from the beginning. So that's an overview of the burn haystack method. Let me know what tips really stand out to you, what you would like to keep in mind in the future as you go through your relationships. And let me know what you think about this episode. Screenshot it, share it in your stories, and tag me on social media. I am at Keshia Rice, KESHIARICE, and you can find me on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube. And you can also DM me and let me know what you think. So I will talk to you soon. Love you very much. Hey there. So you made it all the way to the end of the episode, which means I have two things to say. One, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And two, you like me. You really like me. So I would appreciate it if you would show that like by subscribing to this podcast so that more people can hear about it and enjoy it as much as you do. And if you want to know more about any of the links that I mentioned on this episode or any guests that I've had, be sure to go to KeshiaRice.com/links. That's KESHIARICE.com/links. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. So see you then.